So hi again, everyone, in the second session of today Tech Savvy Camp. Today's session will be about Nearpod, the use in formative assessment. So I repeat, we will be using classpoint.app. You are required to insert a pin code. You have it already on the top of my screen, 49238. I already have one player. So take your time, few seconds, and we'll start. So I repeat again, you go to classpoint.app. Great. I have 3 already who managed to join, okay? And you insert the pin code on the top of the screen, 49238. By the way, we will only today use few minutes for the icebreaker activity, and then log off to the class point and follow me on your Microsoft Teams. It's okay, even if you log off from a class point, you will still be able to follow me on Microsoft Teams, because later on I want you to take part in the Nearpod session. We will create a lesson, okay, together, and I want you to take part in it to check the same procedure as the Kahoot of yesterday and the quizzes. So I don't know if we shall start or waiting for the others, okay. So I will give you extra few seconds. I repeat, you go to classpoint.app and you will insert the pin code, which is 49238. It's very easy. Take your time. So in the coming sessions, we will see how to use ClassPoint, which is a built-on in your PowerPoint slides. Very useful, very interactive with your students. As I mentioned yesterday, for those who could not follow, you have a variety of options on the toolbar on the bottom of your page. You can use the laser if you would like to highlight so that students follow with you. You can use different types of pens. I change the color, the format, so that you can underline, especially for young learners. You have the highlighter, you have the eraser. If you want to have a whiteboard to write on it, you can start with a quick poll like an icebreaker, and very exciting features in the class point, which is pick a name. For example, here I have a list of my attendees, of my students. For example, today we are having educators, and I just flip and I assign Miss Shema, for example, to answer the question, or Miss Sene, or anyone else, okay, or anyone else. So if you want to keep it anonymous, so it's very exciting feature. You can reset. So I think there are many exciting features in the class point built on. Let me check. So in our waiting room. So let's get started. Okay, I will start with the first question. Just pop out anything that you have in mind, jot down anything, just it's like an icebreaker. So what does technology in class means to you? Have you ever experimented with technology? Even if you didn't, what do you think? What are your attitude, perspectives? So let's just try to check your perceptions of technology. You see, so it's gaming of your lesson. You have a music. I will turn it off so that we could hear each other, okay? You can turn on or off the responses of your students. Okay, you have a timing. You can set it off or on. It depends on the pace and objective of your lesson. If it's a test, a formative assessment, you turn it on, okay? Otherwise, if it is a class debate discussion, you turn it off. So no one was able, I think, to answer. I will try it again. Please try to type anything. So you will be asked, okay, to write. You will have different spaces. Just write one word, just one response. I need to show for the attendees how it looks like. So write anything that comes to your mind. I repeat, we are using classpoint.app and we are using the code 49238. Okay. Very good, excellent. Yes, thank you for taking part. So you see, it will be like a cloud, okay, of words, and I think it's very exciting and interactive for students. So it will get away from the boring of asking questions, writing on our blackboard. So I recommend that you use the class point built on. Great, very good. Okay, so indeed, it's a very useful tool. There is a progress. It facilitates a lot as well as a motivation. Great. Okay, I move to my second question. It's a yes, no, multiple choice question. Have you ever used technology-based teaching? I don't need any name of tool, just yes, no, and sometimes. So I start, I hit the multiple choice button, and you take your times. So I think it's a very exciting gaming feature. So yes, no, sometimes. Have you ever used technology in your class? So there are different types of gaming platform, game-based learning tools. We saw yesterday, we get familiar with the Kahoot, with the quiz. Okay, so you see here I have different options and I have the rate of each category. So I think it's very important if you are having a brainstorming activity in your class. Very good. Okay. And I finish with the third question. What does formative assessment means? Of course, as educators, we can't prepare a lesson academically without thinking of formative assessment. This is the key element for success, for evaluation of our success in our class, if you want. So what does it mean, according to you, formative assessment? Just any word that comes to your mind. So what does it mean, formative assessment? According to you, all of us, of course, we need it. Waiting to collect answers. And as I said, so here you can turn on or off your timer. I have two participants already. I can check the responses. You see, you can turn off the name so that it will be anonymous to check your students. Very good. I have already 3 attendees who assigned or submitted their answers. So I think this helps you to control the pace of your class management, participation of your students. So I will stop here, just it's a trial to show you. Well done, very good. You can save it for review if you want to attribute grades, scores later, or insert results as a slide in your presentation. It will be a slide in your PowerPoint. So you have different options in here. Very good. So now you are free. You can log off from the ClassPoint app and just follow me on the Microsoft Teams. You will see the same shared screen as I am having now. Okay. So I will start with the definition, okay? Let me introduce the Nearpod platform to you, which is my favorite so far. So Nearpod is an online tool that allows teachers to use slide-based teaching, both in the classroom and remotely. You know that due to the corona, to the pandemic, many schools were closed. There is a closure, there is a hybrid, if you want, approach, no face-to-face. So Nearpod was one of these tools that really help and facilitate delivering lessons and in a fun and interactive way. So teachers can create interactive learning resources that allow to engage and learn easily. It's also useful as a formative assessment tool. Today, I will focus mainly on the formative assessment, okay? But however, you can use it as icebreaker. I will show you, I will highlight some of the activities later on, and can output students' efforts in easy to analyze graphs and charts for a clear snapshot of progress. This is very important. Later, by the end of your lesson, you can generate reports, okay, via your email or directly upload them on your devices. Like a CVS or a PDF file in which you have the progress of each student. So it's very important to help you how to score or grade what was what went wrong, what was okay in your lesson, so that you rectify for the coming lessons, for your future lessons. So this is the importance of using Nearpod for formative assessment. The graphs are very clear and understood. So teachers can easily import media, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, to make a lesson faster and easier. You can import YouTube videos, maps. You have a lot of features. We will see them in the second part, in which we will dive deep into the platform. So they can also make YouTube videos interactive, which is very important. You can choose any videos about any topic and pause it for a few seconds at a specific time and ask specific questions. We will do that together later on, okay? So you can make YouTube videos interactive by adding assessment questions at certain points. So what is formative assessment? Why do we need it in our classes as educators? So formative assessments are used during the learning process to check students' progress and help them better understand where they're at compared to where they need to be. So these assessments can vary from polls, quizzes, discussions, one-on-one conversations, or any other activity where a teacher checks in on students' learning. Taking time to see where your students are during the lesson and adjusting accordingly means formative assessments play a key role in pacing how we pace our lesson. Tools like Nearpod can be used by teachers to facilitate this process and allow for the quick and easy collection of formative assessment data to make improvements to future lessons. So formative assessment is very essential, very important in having a better and more useful, beneficial, if you want, lessons in the future. So in this chart, you have different tools that you can use in your Nearpod, okay, for the formative assessment. So it varies from the quizzes, the open-ended questions, the polls, like an icebreaker at the beginning of your lesson, or even in the middle of your lesson, to have a class debate to collect, if you want, feedback from your students. Or you have the fill in the blanks feature, in which you have missing words in paragraphs, like we do in our tasks in English. You have a collaborative board, which is very important. You have interaction between students. You can rectify the misconceptions. You can identify if there is something wrong in the understanding of your students. Or you can simply use the generated reports sent by Nearpod. All formative assessment data collected through quizzes and polls in Nearpod will automatically be formatted into graphs, so teachers can instantly visualize performance and understanding across their class. This data can also be downloaded or exported so teachers can access it later or share it with others. Reports can be accessed through the app and downloaded as PDF or CSV file. I forget to mention, there is also an app that application, in addition to the website, okay, that you can download on your device, on any device. And there is another exciting feature. I will talk about that later, which is the translation feature in Nearpod. So this helps teachers gain a completely comprehensive understanding of their class ongoing progress. Besides, Nearpod allows teachers to automate learning grades by scoring and giving immediate feedback, as if you are having an exam or a test, online remote test. During lessons, collaborate boards are a great option to tackle misconceptions and check the extent of understanding of our students. So I will pause before going to the deep dive, as usual. We will have some practice together. Let me check the chat box. So you hit on the this circle button, and if you have any questions for clarifications, any I don't know, ambiguities before I move on, so be my guest. I will wait a few seconds and then we will go back to the practice. So as I said, if you have any questions, I'm waiting for your feedback. Otherwise, let's deep dive in the Nearpod. So I will start with the website. So we go to nearpod.com. This is how teachers can create their lessons. I wanted to let me refresh my page so that it doesn't detect my email. So that you see the home page that I needed you to see it, so that you follow with me the steps one by one. Okay, let me log out from my account, okay, and I will come back later. So usually this is the home page of the Nearpod, okay, learning platform. So you can join as a student if you have a code, a PIN code like we did with the class point. You can sign up for free or log in as a teacher, as an administrator, and you have school district. You have an account for school district, which is of course fee paying. So let me log in here. It is the same. You will be taken to this page in which you will be asked to connect via your Google, Office 365, Clever, or ClassLink. So any account that you have. Personally, I'm using the Google account in my Nearpod. So I click on that and I am in my library. So this is what you have. These are the lessons, for example, that you have in your library. If you do not have any lesson, it will be blank. Okay, so I will start on my left. So on the top of my left, either you join a lesson for training session in your CPD with other educators, okay? Or you go to your course. You can divide your lessons later, your activity, organize them into courses like the Kahoot, like what we have seen yesterday. This part is for your reports, and you have here a library, a very extensive, rich library. I click, let's take a look on the library. What can we have? How can we search? So either in the library, you can filter by name. I click on here on the top of my page. I can select my subject, the level, the section. Okay. Or simply I can choose from a variety of options here. I will start from the first one, the featured, the most famous if you want to use one. You have a list. I recommend that you take a look, you dive later on this, how to use Nearpod if you are fresh user of Nearpod. It has a variety of tutorials that help you step by step on the way. Okay, the second one, the grades. You search according to the grades. Is it high school, third, fourth, fifth, kindergarten? You search by subjects, English language, math, social studies, science, technology. You search by content type. Do I need to have a video to insert in my lesson, an activity, or lesson? I will check for the video, for example. I click on that. And I have a variety of videos. I'm still be able to filter by the name, anything that I want specifically in the videos. So don't worry, you will not waste time. You can just click and type your search here. Okay, so these are different videos. I come back here. To the library. So we stopped at the content type. Publishers, this is very exciting and rich also part of your library. You have trusted publishers, publishers who are engaged with Nearpod. Okay. I scroll down. I have different channels, BBC World, Biography, Freckle, even cartoon, the Fixies. I don't know if you you watch it. My kids are addicted to that. I click on here and I have videos of the fixes that you can use in your lessons. You can pause in each video and ask a question, so it's very fun, especially for young learners. Come back to the publishers to show you more. Education come history. It's very useful, especially for scientific topics. So you can choose to insert any video from these rich library of publishers. Premium collection, it's fee paying, it's not free. And I come back to the features. Okay, I come back now to the top of my right. Okay, you can have quick launch if you are in a hurry. You have the icon of the rocket ship in here. For example, I didn't prepare a lesson, I'm in a hurry, and I want to have something handy that comes handy using my technology in my class. So I click on here, and Nearpod allows me to choose to start my lesson with an open-ended question as an icebreaker, to have a class debate. I can set a timer for my students to finish an activity, or I can use the collaborate board. We will use each one aside so that you have a better understanding of that. Let me check the waiting room. So let's say I would like to start with an open-ended question. I click on here. So I can have a timer so that it's a type of class management. I like it a lot. So it will reduce distraction of students talking with each other. They will be more engaged, and you will identify who is following you and who is not. So I think it's very useful in our classes. So let's say I will ask any random question. Immigration is beneficial for my country. As I said, I am typing just to show you anything randomly. You can change here the font, the size. You can monitor all of these features. I want it centered on the right, on the left. I want to have the color changed, underlined, italics, etc. If I want to insert a symbol. Okay, I move to my right. I can assign a timer if I want it to be very quick, very short span of time. For example, no, not 14 minutes, let's say 2 minutes icebreaker, at least, or 5 minutes. I add my timer. I can add an image. Let's say I'm looking for an image of immigration, of immigrated people. You can record an audio, okay, PDF, video. You have a variety of options. Let's choose here. So I have a safe search, a Google safe search. So do not worry, students in the same place. Do not open a new browser in the Google. No, everything is incorporated, is built on the Nearpod platform, which is, I think, very, very important, especially when I talk about internet safety for children and learners. So let's say I'm talking about immigration. Let me check here. Or you can simply upload it from your device. If you have anything on your desktop, of course, you can use it. Okay, I click on here and I hit the save button. And already I had my question, my icebreaker, or my, okay. So I finished with that. I can have quick launch if I wanted to delete it. So let's say I would like to have a quick launch in my lesson with my students. Waiting for a few seconds to have the question on the screen. Okay, he will ask me how I would like to share the link with my students. If I am hosting a live session, of course, they have a join, okay? They go to Nearpod, join nearpod.com, okay? And they have a pin code that they will copy paste. Otherwise, I can send it as an email if it is self-paced. I can share it via my Google Classroom. I showed you that yesterday through Remind, or simply on the Microsoft Teams. If you want to incorporate it in a Zoom meeting, you can turn on or off this option. For now, we are using Teams, so there is no need to use the Zoom. So let's say I copy paste in here. Let me open a new browser. And I want to join as a student. So I type in joinnearpod.com. He will ask me to insert my PIN code, and I have the lesson that the teacher already has. As I said, you can have it as a live lesson or assign it, okay, as a self-paced. So, or there is another option here on the top of your page. You can switch between the student's view and the teacher's view to show you how. So this is my view as a student. So here I type, for example, my answer. I think it is, let's say, harmful. And I send. Unfortunately, I can't because I am the teacher now, but I am showing you. So this is the code that the students will use to join me to attend the lesson. I flip to my teacher's view and I start the activity. As I said, I have used a timer, which is more challenging, and it's a type of class management for me with my students. No results, and you have a real-time feedback. Who has answered, who didn't answer. I flip to the students, and this is what students have on their screen. I hope it was clear. If you have any questions, please try to hit the chat button and write down, okay? So I finished with that. You have the menu on the top here. Either I would like to send the report, which is very important, or to close my session. So let's say I would like to close my session. Of course, the PIN code will not be valuable for any other session. It will be new, recreated from the scratch. So every time you log off, okay, you just finish with your session, the PIN code is useless. They can't use it for a new session. I hope it is understood. Okay, now I finished with my click launch activity. I can have a preview to check what I have done before. I come back to the three dots. I click on here, either to send a report or to delete. For me, I will delete since just it's something to show you how to work on that. Okay, and I will come back here to the library. So I repeat, if you are in a hurry, you can use the quick launch with the rocket ship button. Okay, if I have already time in my home, I am comfortable, cozy, and I would like to create my lesson. Either I can choose from the library, okay, I duplicate, of course, I should duplicate the lesson that I want to have. Let's say I'm looking for a lesson about pollution. Let me check in here. For my students, I have a variety of options. Let me check the grade. I want it, for example, to be the 5th grade, more challenging or, okay? So you have here the use of videos in all of these lessons. Let's say I'd like to have this one. You can have a preview or you can add it. So please be careful. Okay, bear in mind, you can't use a lesson unless you add it to your library. So this is very important. So let's have a preview of our lesson. It's a video from a publisher. I have three options, okay, to teach it alive in my lesson. If I am also having this lesson hosted a live session, I can have the preview or add it to my lesson. Let's say I want to have a preview to check it's about what, the length, the topic exactly. If it is interactive, there are questions because, as I said, exactly here it is, you see these dots in here. So this is an interactive video. So you choose any video and you pause and you can add, okay, any question that you want to have for your formative assessment. So here he will ask me to have it as an interactive mode. Yes, of course, in my class, I wanted to have interactive to pause for a few seconds, give them a few minutes to answer the questions. So let's start in here.
Hey friends, do you like what we see here? Air pollution consists of toxic chemicals and other harmful particles that have an adverse effect on our health and ecosystem. But what causes air pollution? In today's episode, let us enter the filthy territory of air pollution and explore its lethal consequences on our lives, environment, and the world. Zoom in!
So you see here the teacher can compose. You choose, of course, the span time in which you compose, and you add any question, any type of question, especially for discussion, open-minded, or if it is a global revision of what you have seen in a previous lesson. They give you their conclusion, their feedback. For example, here the question is, what do you already know about air pollution? Similarly, you can attribute a timer and wait for to collect your students' answers. So this is an open-ended question. And so on and so forth. So I think this is a very super exciting feature when it comes to interaction and assessment in the class. So I come back here to the new part. I will show you something else very useful. I come back to the library because I do not really have a very rich library. I lost, by the way, my account. I had a redeem code. I used to have a gold account, which is fee paying. I had it for free for 6 months. And when you lose it, what is really the short, if you want, coming off the Nearpod free version is the storage capacity. You will lose all of the sudden all of your lessons. So if you need more storage capacity, you need to upgrade. So this, I think, really the inconvenience. Otherwise, Nearpod is really a wonderful platform to use. So let's say here I am looking for a lesson about verbs. Or I already have it on my course. Wait a minute, I had something for you earlier. This one about syllables. Okay, I duplicate that. I save it on my course, on my courses. So similarly, you have the 3 dots. I click on here to share it with other teachers, to duplicate if I wanted to use it, to edit, to delete some slides, okay? Or to add it in a folder if you are categorizing or ordering your library into folders, which is suitable, I think, better for choosing later on, picking up your lessons according to the level of your students. You can also export it as PDF. You can send a report or delete it. Let's say I want to have a participation. It means here I want to host a live session. So either you assign it as a homework, self-paced, okay? Or here I want to have it. So you can join me if you have the ability. I would love to see even 2 or 3 attendees so that you understand how it works. So this is the pin code. So this is the pin code. So you go to joinnearpod.com. I will write it if you want in the chat. Let's see how does it look. So if you are able to go to the joinnearpod.com and you copy paste the pin code. Okay. So this is my student's view. I want to flip to the teacher view. So this is the teacher view. And this is the student's view. So if you are able to join, be my guest. So here, what do you have? I read the question, the instruction for you. So words are made up of different parts called syllables. Syllables are the chunks we can hear in words. Sort the words based on how many syllables each word has. There is a very exciting feature here on the top of my page. You see this book with the audio symbol. I click on here, and this is the Google Immersive Reader. It's very exciting and newly upgraded feature, built-on feature in Nearpod and a lot of other educational platforms, which helps the students, especially those who are struggling to read, who are slow readers. So I go to the top here. I have the icon of the book in which I have my reading preferences. I click on that. I can choose if I wanted to focus on the line, each line, or on the whole paragraph. If I want a picture dictionary, especially for visual readers, I can translate, and this is very, very important feature. So you choose here from a data bank, from Nearpod, a variety, even Arabic, a variety of languages in which your students can translate. How do you want them to translate, word by word or the whole document? You are free to choose that. And by the way, Nearpod supports Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge, and Safari when it comes to translation. Okay, so I go to the second icon, which is the grammar option. I click on here. I can highlight syllables in my paragraph, in my question. I can also highlight the parts of speech so that students are aware of the parts of speech to show the labels. I go to the third icon, which is about the text preferences. I can change the type. I want it bigger, smaller, it depends. Okay, say I want bigger, visible for everyone. I can play on the font to change it as I please. And I can change a variety of themes. So I think it's very, very exciting feature. Everything is set, and now I would like to listen to my question or paragraph. On the bottom of my page, I have the voice setting. Also, I can play on the voice speed if I want it to be faster or slower, if I want to have a female or male option. And I click the play button and I listen.
Words are made up of different parts, called syllables. Syllables are the chunks we can hear in words. Sort the words based on how many syllables each word has.
I scroll down if it is longer question, scroll up if I want to hear too. Again, I click on the word if I want to hear it alone.
Word. Each.
And at the same time, I have the part of speech. This is a noun, this is a noun. So I think it's very, very exciting feature, especially for students who are struggling with reading. Okay, so on the bottom of my page, I have a variety of other options. I have a pen. I can use the color, change it, the setting. I can have a text. I can have an eraser. So now I finished with my lesson, let's say. So I want to have a report sent via the email. So I click on here, and he told me that already a report was sent to my email. I will check with my email. And in a few seconds, report is sent to your email. Let me refresh the page. So usually it takes a few seconds, and here it comes. So I can upload, okay, can download my email, my report, and I have it on my desk to check at my own pace the participation of my students, the number of my students, the list and the nicknames. For example, here I have Ms. Noura who took part, great. I have the correct answers. Of course, here we have only one question. The more questions you have, of course, the extra pages you have, it depends. It could have, here I have only 2 pages. Let me check the second one. It depends on the type of the question. So the second question is drag and drop activity, and so on and so forth. I think it's very useful. So I come back to my homepage. Of course, I finished. I want to exit now my lesson. And let's say we will create a lesson together. I will show you what options do you have in creating your lessons. I come back on the top of my page here. Let me know. As usual, I will pause if you want for a few seconds. Are there any questions? Are there any ambiguous points in my explanation? So waiting for you. If you have anything, you hit the chat button and you write it, please. I hope it is everything is set clear. So let's say I would like to create. So you have different options, either to create a lesson from the scratch, either a video, an activity means a simple game, or Google Slide. When I click on the Google Slide, it is a premium feature. You should have a gold account. However, the free account is silver. I repeat, the free account is silver. If you want to upgrade, it is gold. Of course, the only difference is the storage capacity. So do not worry, you can still use the free account and enjoy in all the luxury of the all features included built on Nearpod. So we will create a lesson together. I click on here. And here we start our lesson. Of course, I will choose a title. Let's say I will talk about promotion. I am writing randomly, of course. So what do you have on your left? You will start with a blank canvas, okay? And you will have these options to add, to delete, or to copy. So let's click on that. You can also import document, PowerPoint, PDF, PNG, or simply you can drag and drop. So either you import or drag and drop, which is very fast. I click on here. Here it comes a variety of options, either to have a new slide, okay, a classic slide, a video, if I want to insert a video, if I want to search on the internet without leaving the Nearpod platform, the Nearpod 3D features, simulation, VR field trip, which is very useful for scientific topics, the BBC video in which you have a library with a variety of rich topics, Sway, if I want to incorporate my Sway. I have already a pre-built Sway and I want it to be incorporated in my Nearpod. Multiple slides, here it means 2 or 3 slides together. Audio, if I want to record something for my students, or PDF. I will show you each one, each side. I come back here on the top. Instead of the content, I want to have a gaming activity. So here it comes, the different options. I have a game called Time to Climb. We will try to check each one. Open-ended question, matching pairs, quiz. If I want to add Flipgrid, the name has already changed a few months ago. It is called the Flip platform. It's like the TikTok, a very interactive platform. I usually use it with my students. They can record themselves in short videos, have multiple options of changing the background, as if you are taking selfies, the color, the font, etc. Writing text on their videos. So it is very interactive. So you can use it. Also, you can add it in here. It is built on. You can have the draw it, especially for young learners. They are very excited by using colors, the highlighter. You can have the collaborate board, which is used especially in the live sessions. You can have the poll for a discussion, class debate. Fill in the blanks if you are working on a grammar, vocabulary, or memory test. I will come back to the content. Let's say I would like to have a new slide. I click on here. They are similar for the classic and the new one. They are very similar. Just on the font, on the presentation, not a big deal. Of course, he will ask me here to choose my title. Let's say I'm going to talk about pollution. I have a variety of options to change the font, the size, etc. You can insert here a background, an image, a video, an audio. You have a variety of options. And here you write your paragraph. If it is a lesson, as I said, you can use it either for a lesson or for activities. So type here. Let's say pollution is devastating for every country. Okay, So I finished with my first slide. He will ask me on the bottom of my page if I want to save it and go on with my work or to delete it. Let's say I would like to save it. So I hit the save button. And here we are. I have my first slide on my presentation. Do not focus on the mistakes of the typewriting because I'm speeding up so that we do not lose too much time. And I want you to have an extra idea. So I come back here, I click on the add button. So I will not show you this, it is similar. The video, let's say I would like to have a video in which I have a question. I will pose and add questions for my students. And this is very useful, either for the formative assessment or for icebreaker activities. Let's say I'm looking for pollution. I will choose randomly, okay? I will choose here, video. I will add it. Already I have a video with a question, so you can have some time, few minutes, okay, and to check if it is okay, if it is suitable for you. And you can add your activity if you want to delete, and you add your own activity, choose a timer for your students. So here I can add my open-ended question, multiple choice question. Let's say I would like to have an open-ended question. So I will ask a question, is pollution man-made? Of course, they can't say yes or no. They should to have a debate for that. It is an open-ended question, controversial issue. I save my work and I have already my question in here. Of course, when I will start, students will follow me and will take their time to answer this question. So I have 3 other options here. The quality of the video. If I want to have subtitle, which is very useful for them to follow, if it is very fast in the speed, and the speed of reading video. If you want to just cut down part of this video, I need only 2 minutes. For example, it's very long, 9 minutes. I need, for example, only 3 minutes for my students. It depends, it's up to you. So I will save my video with the questions I already inserted in it. I have a second slide. Later on, I am free to choose, okay, to work on the order. For example, I want to start with the slide. I want to start with the video as a warm-up. So you are free to choose to change it later. Normally, it should change because of the unsteady network tonight. I come back to the add button. This is if I am looking for something on the internet, so it's very easy, or you simply copy paste a URL to an article, to an application, to a video, to an image, anything outside the web without leaving the platform. So I think it's very super time-saving feature. I have the Nearpod 3D. I click on that. I can have a selection here of different topics. So let's say I need Earth. I click on finish. Let me check my view. So, and each time I can pause and come back to my slide to check if it is okay, if I am satisfied, or shall I change it. You can have here a preview of your lesson, or you can have just save and exit, okay? Let's say I want to save and exit, or if you want, let's check this one, if it is working. So you see here, students can interact with any image that you have in the 3D, which is, I think, very personalized experience. They can zoom in, zoom out. They have a variety of options, turn on this, the full screen, etc. Okay, so I finished with that. I will click the save button and I come back to add in. Let's say now I want to have it more motivating. I will pause and add a game. So I come back to my lesson. You see it in my library. And I come back to the edit button. Click on that. And I can add, let's say here, I will add an activity. There is a very fun, exciting, it's my students' favorite, which is time to climb. I click on that, and you will have this part in which you choose the number of the questions, the format. You can sometimes ask question using images only without typing. So you can use only images. Students answer by clicking on images. Let's say, for example, water pollution. And I want them to answer using images, which is very fun. So I click on that and I select an image. I will choose, for example, garbage to check their understanding. So it's a formative assessment. And the second option will be, let's say, oil spills, so that they differentiate between land pollution and water pollution. As I said, you are free to choose your own topic, the level of your student. Just this is a demo session for you. You can also have a variety of other options to upload from your video, from your desktop, your Google Drive, etc. So let me check with this image. Okay, I think it's very clear that it is a water pollution type. Of course, you should click on the right answer for your students. I will click on that. So either they provide, as I said, text, written answer for your question, or images. I think it depends on the type of learner. We have a variety of learners, tactile, visual. So to cater for all their needs, try to vary between the types of questions that you use in your Nearpod lesson. So if you want to add extra to make it more challenging, 3, 4, it's up to you. You have a variety. If I want to have an image, reference image, if I want to set my timer here, I want them to answer, for example, in, let's say, 35 or 30 seconds, depends. Try to make it shorter in your class so that students are not distracted. So this is a very class management rule that helps you to identify students who follow you and students who are not following you. So try to make it not very long. So I finished with my question. If I want to add another question, here it's not necessary. So I click on the save button, and this is what I have on my screen. So this is the game that I have already. And if it is possible, I will show you what students have. So we will see that later on if you want. So I'm not able, I should continue editing my session. So I'll come back to the add button. Either in the content or the activity, I will show you another feature, the VR field trip. I click on here, which is very fun. You have different places, different scenery, and it is built in with the 360-degree feature. So let's say I'm looking for Earth. I don't know if it is possible to have that. Or let's write ocean, since we are talking about pollution. I will choose ocean and check if it is available. For example, I will click on this one. I can have preview or I finish. Let's say I want to have a preview. How does it look on my students' devices? So as I said, it's 3D. It is incorporated with the 360-degree feature. I think you can enter the VR if you are using the appropriate tool. I think it's very motivating. Okay, so I finish with that. I am satisfied. I will click on the end button and I have it already in my lesson. So similarly, I can save and exit, or I still work on my lesson. So I would like to add another activity to make my lesson very exciting instead of boring. So you have a collaborate board, which is a very exciting feature. I click on that. It's like the Padlet or the Wakelet. We will see that in tomorrow's session. So it's a collaborative board, okay, in which students can write and have instant feedback. So, of course, I will be asked for the options of my students. There are very exciting options here. They can see their nouns. If I wanted to be anonymous, not to discourage inhabited one, I can turn it off. If I need the names to be scored, I should turn it on. The student could modify their answers if it is an assessment. No, they write only once, so I turn it off. If it is just an icebreaker or a regular activity, you can turn it on. To approve the messages, it means I can see before they post. No, I don't need it. I need all the answers, no problem. They are my students. There is a safe environment here, so I turn it off. Of course, I have the types of media. What shall I use? The images, videos. Students can record their answers. Instead of writing, they can sound their voice recording in the answer. I think it is a very exciting feature since it caters for all types of learners in our class. And let's say I choose my subject on the top of the page. Solution types. Go down. I should have a description. So this is what I ask my students to answer. This is the instruction, and it is already done. So here they can answer either by inserting images, videos, or just recording themselves. They can also use the Jiffy feature. I click on save, and everything is set in place. So I will finish with the last feature so that it won't be very long. So I've shown you all the interesting one. Audio, if I want to record myself or if I want to import, okay, it depends on what you are using. The activity, we have seen time to climb, the matching pairs, very funny. So let's start to try it on. You can choose here from a data bank built on in the Nearpod library, or you can create your own. So let's say I'm looking for pollution, anything related to pollution, water pollution, impact, pollution. Let me check with this one. Okay. So the assignment is to match each vocabulary word with the picture. You have water, people, animal, environment. Of course, they will be jumbled for students. So it is a focus activity and very fun at the same time. I can here have a preview of my activity. This is how does it look on my student, and they can match. If it is false, it's the red color. The correct, it is the green color. So I think it's very fun, very exciting, and catering for all their needs. So I click on the save button and my lesson is already to share with my students. So let's check now with the overall lesson, if I am satisfied, if it's okay, everything is set exactly as I want it to be. So as usual, I can come back on the bottom here to the edit button. I can preview my lesson to check if it is okay. I recommend that you do that before hosting a live session so that you avoid surprises sometimes. This is what we will do now. So this is the preview of our lesson today. So I have 7 slides. So this is very important. I check on the number, I check on my work, the type of the questions I added, I inserted in the interactive video. To turn on, off, everything is correct as I want it to be. And I start seeing my lesson as it was elaborated. So this is the content. The lesson is about that. This is the 3D feature in which students can personalize their experience touching the earth, moving around, zooming in, zooming out. Next, what do we have next in the fourth slide? Yeah, we have the time to climb game. You will see later how you play it. Next, I have, I think, the multiple choice questions in which they will click only on the image. They will provide image instead of a text, which is very motivating and innovative in our class. Next, I have the virtual field trip. If you have the VR device. Next on, I have my collaborate board in which they will write their answers. They can choose a variety of options to record themselves, to have photos, etc. And I have the last activity, I guess, which is the pairs, matching pairs. Okay, I am satisfied with my lesson now. I have two options on the bottom here. Either self-paced, I click on that to show you how does it work. So here it's like the Kahoot challenge that we've seen yesterday. So you can assign it as a homework for your students. You can work on the deadline here. I want it to be, for example, from the 24th, let's say, to the 4th of September. I apply that. Okay, and I share the link via a variety of options. Copy, paste, email them, integrate them, insert them in my Google Classroom, etc. Or otherwise, I host a live session. Let's check the live session. I would like you to, 2 or 3 volunteers, please, try to attend on joinnearpod.com to see, okay, to check how does it look on your devices, on the students' devices. So I will give you few minutes and I will wait for you. If I am, I will do it so that you could have a better understanding. So you go to join Nearpod, or simply I type Nearpod because I have already, you will see a simple space in which, yeah, here you can have the code, okay, to join the lesson. So I will come back in here to my code and copy paste that. Let me check if it works. So this is what students have on their device, and they are following you. Of course, they will be asked to join you via their account. How do they want to log in? Here I am using my Google account. He will ask me because I am a teacher. So I will say yes and continue. Okay, so you see here, the video will be started by the teacher. The student can't preview the video unless the teacher starts playing it because it is a live session. So as a teacher, I will start. So he will ask me here to have 2 options. How do you want this video to be played? Is it played by the teacher at the pace of the teacher? Okay. Or student space, they can read and pause. Let's say I want it together so that it's not really chaotic in my lesson. They follow me at my speed and I start. So I come back in here.
I think we should do this one outside. This is better. This is beautiful.
So usually I should have,
God, of course, except
my
for
screen
this
just
litter.
the same
It's
pace
a kind
as
of
the
pollution, but like barely. Like I would rather it not be here. It makes me kind of angry and makes nature less pretty. But environmentally, there's a pretty low chance. And we can't.
Let's say I come back to the question. So student will have the same question as me. How much do you already know about pollution? I will assign my work as a student. Okay, and I will send it. I click on the send button. So it is already scored. Of course, I can't modify my answer because the teacher already had set his preferences in the setting. Okay, so I come back in here. If I want to see my students' progress, If I want to share with the class, I had already the name of the student. I have the answer. If I want it to be public for everyone, I can share it with the class. Okay, we finished with the first activity. The teacher proceeds in his lesson. Here I have what is the summary, if you want, the content of my lesson. The students, you see, he will have the same page as the teacher. If you want to have the immersive reader, just click on that button. Okay, and let's give
Pollution. Pollution is devastating.
Sorry for me because I'm not using the Microsoft School. It is in English, so my ordinary Microsoft preferences is French language. That's why you feel that there is an inconvenience in that. So I move on. Next, I have the 3D. The same for the student. We will have the same, but because of the bad and steady network. I have already here the number of the participants. I can show them, you see. If you want to hide the names to keep the anonymous aspect of your lesson. Okay. I move on. So next, what do we have? This is the 5th slide. Yes, I have the time to climb activity. So here he will ask me to select a theme. So you have different types of theme. Let's say I would like to have the first one. So Time to Climb is a speed-based game. Students earn additional points for correct answers based on how quickly they answer them. And I have here a variety of options that I could personalize. If I want to randomize the answers, if I want to pause game between questions for discussion, this is very useful in our class. If I want to play sound on all students' devices, I will turn off here because it's too loud for us. And I continue. In your class, you can turn on your sound, you are free. And waiting for the plays. So I come back in here. This is what students have on their devices. So it's a very gaming, interesting feature. So they choose a character by which they will play. They have a variety of character. Okay. And they join the game. So a few seconds and they are. So already I had the names of my students here. I have 2. Very good. And the teacher will start the game. You see, the live session, everything is controlled, monitored by the teacher. You can't progress at your own pace unless it is assigned as a self-paced lesson at home as a homework. Students can progress at their own pace. Otherwise, it is the teacher who controls the pace of the lesson. Okay, so I start my game and I will start my questions. And this is what students have on their devices. Of course, I have a game board here, and I have the performance of my students. I click on the correct answer. And the more my answers are correct, the higher I climb, the higher students climb. And I have here the game board, the leaderboard. So I think it's a very competing aspect feature of Nearpod. I come back here on my overall leaders, the scores of each one of them. Great work. Okay. Next, I move to the virtual trip. Okay, this is how does it look, even on the student's device. So next slide. I have the collaborate board. So let's say I am a student. This is what I have. So I will write the types of pollution. If you are joining with the code, so you can write, you can type your own answers. Okay. So let's say water, land, and air pollution. I finished, I submit. If I want to add, okay, another option. I want to, let's try the record feature. Click on here. I click here. water, land, and air pollution. So I will listen again. So usually it should be working. Okay, and I submit my answer to the teacher. Let me check now as a teacher, what answers do I have on my collaborative board? Okay, let's come back here. So usually you can hear your students when they submit their recording. So this is how it looks on your screen, okay? You can share the collaborative board with all the class to have feedback, to have a class debate. Okay. And the last one, I have the results here, okay? Let me check with the last activity for the students, which is the matching pair. So you match each vocabulary word with each picture. So here I have the water, I have the animals, I have the environment. No. Okay, so I finished with my game. Come back to the teachers. So I see the pairs as they are. The correct answer appears on the teacher's screen. Okay, let's say I finished with my lesson. So I come back to the top of my page, and I want to have a report here, either the view of presentation. If I want to add an activity on the while I am hosting a live session and I forget to add something, so it's very fast, very practical. I can add an activity within my session, which is alive. So this is very useful, especially when you forget or you want to add something, to add extra prompt, etc. Okay, so let's say I would like to have a report. And as usual, in a few seconds, I will have a report in my email. So close here the students' view. And I will check with my email. And of course, the report will be personalized. You can upload it as usual. You can see at your own pace the achievement, the accomplishments of your students. So let's see it together if you want to. So I download it on my device or on my Google Drive. Let me check. So it is PDF, of course. So I have the name of the students, their performance, the quizzes, how did they score in the quiz, the types of questions I'm having. You see, 6 pages. So it is a very detailed report, especially when you are having a formative assessment. So Nearpod proves to be very beneficial and effective in the formative assessment. The interactive video, I have the participants, my students, their answers, who wrote the text, who didn't answer at all. So I think you can keep track of your learning process. The open-ended question also. So it is a very detailed, in-depth report, which comes in handy for your assessment. So I think it's very useful. Okay, I hope I didn't forget anything about the practical and easiest features in your pod. The floor is yours if you have any questions. Let me just stop the recording. And if you have any questions, the floor is yours. Tomorrow we will have another session also.